Hey everybody, my name is Jasmine Taylor, and I am the host of Hues and Blues. This is a podcast that was created with the intention of giving Black women a safe place to discuss their experiences and expertise within the aesthetic industry. So, before we do get into today's episode, my friend Simone, I'm actually going to give y'all a little bit of background about myself, how I got started with this, and why I'm here doing what I do. So, for starters, I am a senior at the University of Texas at San Antonio, majoring in communication and double minoring in African American Studies and Business Administration. This podcast has been created as a part of my signature experience at UTSA, so that was kind of the origin of the podcast. Now, as for how I decided what I would make my podcast about, we're going to take a step back. Before I was ever in college, when I was 19, I knew that I wanted to work in the aesthetic industry. Now, the aesthetic industry, if you do not know, is the meeting of the medical industry and the beauty industry. So think medical grade beauty treatments to include things like chemical peels, VI peels in particular, especially microneedling with radio frequency, hydrofacials, advanced medical grade skincare, and then also injectable services like filler, Botox, Sculptra, just all of those types of treatments, advanced beauty treatments. That is what the aesthetic industry involves, particularly the medical aesthetic industry. So that is the industry that I've always been interested in ever since I was 19. So when I shared my idea of going to esthetician school with my family, unfortunately, it was not met well. I was told, no, you're going to go to college. You're going to get a degree instead. And so I went to community college. I took a break. I got back in, transferred to UTSA. COVID hit, took another break. My college career has not been linear by any means. And so I made it to now. It's my senior year. I'm in my final semester. I will graduate in May 17th. Along the way, in 2021, I did also get my first big girl job at a company y'all may know called USAA. I was working there in insurance, and it was something that came at the perfect time because the pandemic did affect my pockets a little bit because I was working at HEB. I knew it wasn't right for me. So spent some time at USAA working in insurance. And again, even though it was a great job with great benefits and the money was decent for, someone who did not have a college degree, I just wasn't happy because my heart still wanted to be in aesthetics. And so this year, I took a leap of faith and I started working at my current medical spa. And that opportunity actually came because of Simone, who you all will meet later. Her old manager at her medical spa is now my manager. And so they had that connection, and me and her met up over brunch. We talked about everything. I was like, look, how do I get started? How do I make this transition from USAA insurance into medical aesthetics? Like, what do I do? And so she connected me with her old manager. As soon as I saw the job pop up on the job website, I applied, texted Simone, spoke to my manager, and me and her hit it off. Just immediately hit it off. It was like it was just meant to be. So with that, I got hired and I started at my current place of employment on January 2nd. And so now I'm here. I'm in the industry, and really what my mission in aesthetics, to me, what I want it to be is to give opportunities to Black women, not just as providers like working in aesthetics, but as patients. I want Black women to walk through the doors at my medical spa, in any medical spa anywhere, and be competent in the treatments that they know they need to receive, not just for themselves, but also for the providers. Like if the providers do not know, take it as a red flag and leave. But I want them to have the knowledge they need to know what services they should receive and also know when something is not right. I want them to know how to, successfully pick a provider. Like, how do I know this person is going to be competent in my skin tone? Because when Black folks do not have access to that information or do not know what is or isn't right for their skin tone, then you have instances where Black women or Black men, Black people are getting laser hair removal and getting burned by the lasers. You have instances where they may get a chemical peel that is not safe for their skin tone. It leads to further damage. And there's all this talk these days about things like soft life and Black girl luxury. Black folks want to receive luxury aesthetic treatments. It's not, something that is off limits to Black folks. But when there is not competent education and there's not enough discussion and enough cultural competence in the industry, that's where it becomes a problem because now, You could walk in somewhere as a Black person like myself. I'm half Black, half white. Although I am only half Black, and I thought I was a Fitzpatrick 4, which is on a scale of 1 to 6, a 4 would be my skin tone. I'm not a Fitzpatrick 4 when it comes to lasers. Had my laser tech not known that, she would have treated me as a Fitzpatrick 4 and burned me because my father is a Fitzpatrick 6. He is the deepest on the scale. And because my father is my direct lineage, I have to be treated as if I'm his skin tone. So knowledge like that may not be something that everybody knows, or maybe everybody doesn't take seriously. And that can lead to some major issues. It can lead to liability lawsuits. That's the insurance in me speaking. But really, with this podcast, I just want to give Black women that work in this industry alongside me the opportunity to share their experiences and how they got started. If they have their own business, how they got started in that. If they are able to specialize in aesthetics for people of color or Black people, share that here. If you are somebody who has received a service and you did not receive the care that you think you should have received, I want you to have the opportunity to complain. Like, I don't think that's a bad word either. Like, if you want to vent, if you want to complain, this is the place that you can do it. This is a place where you can feel safe to do that without judgment, without being silenced. That is my goal. I want Black folks to feel safe here. And so, long term, honestly, I hope I run out of things to complain about. I hope that eventually I can't say if there's anything missing from this industry or anything that is just prohibiting Black folks from receiving competent, relaxing, thorough care. And maybe eventually Hues and Blues just becomes a safe place all around. Maybe it's just a place to talk. Maybe it's just, hanging out with your homegirl and talking about whatever's going on in your week. But initially, it's because there are things in this industry that I would like to see change, and things in this industry that I want Black folks to know are available to them. Like, it doesn't have to be taboo to receive beauty treatments. It doesn't have to be taboo to receive Botox or filler. Like, I know we say Black don't crack, and it doesn't, but it still needs to be maintained. You still need to know how to properly treat your skin, and the skin is the largest organ. So it's not even just about beauty, but also about your health. So that's why I'm here. With that, I do also want to give a little bit of a warning before we do get into today's episode. A little bit of a trigger warning. My friend Simone does share a story in which, unfortunately, somebody around her used the N-word, hard R. I did bleep it out for the sake of YouTube not taking down my video, but if you feel uncomfortable hearing something like that, just know it's a story that will be told because, unfortunately, these are things that happen in this industry. So without further ado, I appreciate y'all for listening, and I hope y'all enjoy the episode today. Bye.
Ready?
Okay, perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Jasmine Taylor. I'm the host of Hues and Blues, and I have with me today my friend Simone. She'll be our conversation this evening. Just go ahead and get started. Simone, I'll have you introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, my name is Simone Robertson, and I'm an esthetician. I've been an esthetician for the past 4 years now, and I work at a medical spa in San Antonio. And
Beautiful. Okay. Well, you know why this podcast exists, of course, is because I want to give Black women the opportunity and space to speak about their experiences working in this lovely industry that we work in. And so, for starters, I would like to just have you tell us about how you got into aesthetics.
okay, so that's a great story. So aesthetics has always been something I was interested in. Like, I mean, I know it sounds very like cliche, or at a very young age, but it really was like that for me in terms of when I was like 11, 12, I loved watching plastic surgery shows. I'm always told myself that I want to do Botox, I want to do filler one day, I want to get breast implants. And I just remember my parents being like, you don't need any of that, whatever the case is. So right after high school, when I graduated, I went to college. Kind of didn't like the route I was going down, so I decided to drop out, take a step back, and then I got into beauty school because my mom was like, "Hey, why don't you go to beauty school? That's what you love." Got into it. I went to Ogle at San Antonio and graduated within like 6 months, 7 now, 6. Okay, that time frame, 6, 7 months. And then shortly after, I got my written exam, passed that, my practical exam, passed that. And then within 2 weeks of me getting my license, I was working at my first medical spa. and got hired on the spot. So that's how.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So we got through that very quickly. It was a very clear transition, but I love that. Now, I do want to go back in time a little bit. I want to revisit esthetician school. Tell me about how your identity as a Black woman impacted your time in school.
Okay, well, I was one of a total of two, a Black woman in my aesthetic classroom. So I wouldn't say in esthetician school, was there any moments where I felt uncomfortable or excluded for anything? Nothing in that term, but I will say there was a lot of little triggering moments in terms of saying incorrect things, as far as instead of saying, African American, oh, you're as Black as the sun. I've heard that. There was a, can I say names real quick? Like, can I just say a name? Is that okay? Okay. Well, I had a friend in beauty school. Her name was Sydney, and skin type 5'6", definitely on the 6. And I just remember we were talking about how important it was to wear sunscreen, and my face for it. Go ahead.
I'm going to interject real quick for those of y'all that don't know. The Fitzpatrick scale is from 1 to 6. 5 and 6 are the two deepest skin tones. I would be like a 4 and sometimes a 5, depending on if it's lasers. Yeah, so deeper skin tone. I'm sorry, I need to interject.
Yes. And I just remember Sydney, she was definitely 5'6", more close to the 6. And we were talking about how important it is to wear sunscreen, because Black women, it is very important to wear sunscreen. Please, okay? Everyone needs to wear sunscreen, period. We were just talking about the importance of it. And I just remember how my friend Sydney, she was like, oh, I don't wear sunscreen as often as I should. Definitely not in the winter, because a lot of Black people don't wear it in the winter. They like to wear it in the summer. And she was like, well, if I were to put, a light up right now to you in a mirror to really check your skin, or whatever the case is, like you'd be as like Black as the sun, like you would burn, like you'd be blacker than the sun, or you'd be something along those terms. Just, it was really inappropriate, to say the least. And I just remember I was sitting there like, wow. And my classmate / friend, there's nothing you can say in that moment other than like, girl, that was really ignorant. And
Yeah.
her mom ended up finding out about the story and came to the school. It was a whole thing, which I'm not gonna really get too much into that. I feel like she could have held her own with that, because we were grown adult women at that point. I don't think, her mom really should have came in and did all that. But I understood it, because it was a very ignorant, inappropriate comment. And in that moment, it was only me and her in that classroom. There's 30 plus of us, and it's just me and her. And it's like, all I can do is just word like, I'm sorry, girl. Like, but just ignore her, because it was really inappropriate, for one. As far as that, I had that same instructor tell me that I wasn't going to be able to get into a medical spa first on, because I have no history with my esthetician license. And to me, when you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, bet. Like, I'm gonna show you what I can do. So that never bothered me when she would specifically come up to me and tell me, like, you need to try hard on this, you need to do better on this, you need to work better on this. Or even in terms when I would pass exams, because exams weren't super hard, especially if what you're learning about is what you really want to learn about and it's interesting to you. I'll never forget when we had an exam. I got 100 on the exam because I studied for the exam, and she made me retake the exam because she thought that I cheated on the exam. Yeah.
Oh.
That was my phase 1 instructor. Yeah. I'm not going to say the names because I think they still work there, but yeah.
But I hear you. That's insane. And just
me. Well, mind you, like I keep saying, at that time, there was a total of 3 Black women in our class, but one of them ended up dropping out.
Okay.
For obvious reasons. And I also had a friend that went there. Despite everything I went through, I was recommending, because to me, that was like one of the best programs that I had saw. So I would recommend people go just to like fast track, get it done, like accelerated learning, get it done. And my friend ended up dropping out because she didn't like it, because she just felt excluded. You do, especially in a place like San Antonio. You think like, oh, Black, brown, but there are a lot of places in San Antonio that also exclude Black women, unfortunately. So
that's a fact.
One of them.
Yeah, I toured Ogle.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at that. Like, I felt the vibes.
Yeah.
But thank you for sharing that. That's really a shame, especially for your friend that had to drop out, because that's really sad. Definitely interesting to hear that they were doubting your abilities before you even got into Spa Black. But so at Spa Black, you're an esthetician?
Yes, I'm an esthetician, and I also inject. So I'm an aesthetic injector under the doctor I work for, under his license, because in the state of Texas, you're able to do that.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So tell me about your journey from going from Ogle into Spa Black. Like, did you start aesthetic? Like, what did that look like?
You said, did I start where?
Doing aesthetic treatments immediately, what did that transition from school to job look like?
Honestly, that was a really good transition for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of COVID, so I will say it was very fast paced because I was hired on the spot, but a lot of people were quitting as well. So it goes into two. I feel like I was hired because my personality, looks. I'm not gonna lie, when you work in the aesthetic industry like that, you get hired off looks as well. And I feel like I was hired on the spot for that, and because of the fact that they needed people. And going into it, it was very nerve wracking because I didn't know anything about injections. Um, let alone skincare products as much as I thought I did, because you learn things in esthetician school and you actually get thrown into the field. You're like, I don't know anything I was taught. Like, I thought I knew everything and I don't know anything right now. And I just remember they had me being at front desk, which is actually very helpful. A lot of, I feel like, licensed estheticians or injectors don't want to go in straight being front desk. I thought it was very helpful. To this day, like when I go home to work or whatever the case is, they tell me like, we're just so thankful that you know how to work the front desk, because I feel like for you to work in an industry like that, you need to know all the layers of it. You need to know the ins, the outs, the front, the back. You have to know everything about it, and it helped me a lot. But that transition was very smooth, and it was much needed. It was needed because I thought I was going to be like babied in terms of like, oh, this is how you find this, how you find this. No, they threw me in there, and the girls who trained me quit in front of me and walked out, and I was on my own. And they made it very known. Okay, this is your job now. Figure it out. And in the moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember leaving the office crying. Like when I first started, like it's so hectic. I wasn't getting off till 7, almost 8 o'clock at night. But I really do like that because it showed me that like when you're put in a situation like that, you really can do really good. You just have to put your mind to it, really.
Yeah.
So I like that transition though. It was really good. And then I worked front desk for about 3 months. And then they pulled me back to start seeing clients and patients for facials first only. And like I stated, working under the doctor that I work for, working under his license, I'm able to do laser, inject, things like that. So I started off with doing laser hair removal, which is very fun. I learned a lot about different skin types, especially my own, yours, and on and so forth. And it was just a really good transition. I did like the transition on how I learned everything. I was brought into it slowly, which was perfect for me in my pace, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked it.
Okay. Well, so we both work in the aesthetic industry. I do work at the front desk, and that's ultimately my goal is to get at least where you're at and just see where it goes from there. I will share with you. I haven't said where I work yet, but I'm sure I'll share it eventually. I didn't see a Black woman walk in until my 6th day. Like
your what day?
My 6th. It was my 6th day before I saw one singular Black woman walk in, and that was just that time. After that, it was several days before I saw the next one. What are your thoughts on representation of Black women in this industry from just perspective at your job, I guess?
It's taboo for the industry itself, and it's also taboo for Black people itself, if that makes sense. In terms of the marketing, I know we kind of just touch base on that a little bit earlier, but the marketing for, and this has been for any spa, I don't see as many spas I've seen, as many spas I follow, I don't see any that target Black women or say, hey, everyone's included. Even at the spa workout, you can go look right now, there's usually a white woman on the poster getting injected, or a skinny thin woman, hey, come get M-Sculpt or Vanquish, whatever the case is. And I don't think that, for me, if I was in this industry, I wouldn't feel welcome to walk into majority of the spas that I see marketed at all. I wouldn't. And whenever there are Black people that come into the spa that I work with, I mean, it's always like a breath of fresh air to be like, oh my God, like, yes, like, and don't take this the wrong way. I give everyone great customer service, but you specifically want to make sure they have the best experience possible, because
I've had
that. Yeah, I'm like, I give them with extra love because, one, you look like me, and girl, I'm so happy to see you in here, because it's not bad for you to get injections. It's not bad for you to do laser. It's not bad for you to take care of your skin, buy high-end products. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And so you just want to give them all the TLC you possibly can, because you're like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. And if I could do a percentage of the amount of Black women and men that I see walk into the spa that I work for, it is well under 2%. Well under.
Oh my goodness.
I think I can count on both hands once how many Black people I've seen since working at the spa I've worked at. Yeah.
That's
And then not just only that, but employee wise, out of the 50 plus we have, there's only 3 of us. So
I think I've seen the other one, the other girl, one of the other girls.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's actually crazy because it's not like Black women aren't getting injections and aren't getting treatments for their skin.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So tell me if there's been any adverse or just particular experiences that you've had since injecting where you felt maybe like people that didn't look like you might have been treating you differently, if you've had any, or if you've had any. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
so, okay. So as I've stated and told y'all that with me, I'm an aesthetic injector. So I had to have my esthetician license and work under the doctor I worked for at the spa for a certain amount of time so I could legally inject under his license. Okay. That is something within itself. I mean, there are times where I've been doing this now for going on 4 years and I've been injecting for 2 years. And I am well aware of what I'm doing. I trained with one of the best, I feel like, doctors, and he's one of the best doctors in San Antonio as well. And I know what I'm doing. So when I have a patient that comes in, they're new, you know, they're like, oh, usually I grab my patient, I'm like, hi, welcome. My name is Simone. I sit down in the room. I'm like, I'm going to be your injector for today. I mean, I've had patients, I'd be like, wait, you're injecting me? I'm like, I did say my name is Simone. I'm your injector for today. I'm like, yes, I'm your injector. Whatever the case is, they're like, oh, okay. Well, I thought it was gonna be one of the girls in the front. Obviously, the girls in the front don't look anything like me. Okay, right. You have, you know, I work with mainly Hispanics and 2 white women. But it is very, I guess you could say, discouraging whenever I have a patient do that. And then sometimes I'm like, yeah, it is me that's injecting you. So go ahead and lay back. I got you. I'm going to take proper care of you. I promise. But that has happened multiple times. Like, I think I can't even give you stories. I can go on and on about stories. But, you know, I'll share one specific story, actually. The time. Huh?
The one with the lips with the injecting in the lips?
You know, that was with, you know who. Mm-hmm. She was the injector that was doing that. I was just the standby. I was watching because I was getting my sign off so I could start injecting. And you know what? I will share that story. So there was a time where a patient had come in and she was getting her lips done, and I was just going to watch whatever the case is. And another injector that was following around, really good injector, was in there, and she was getting ready to, you know, inject. She's telling her about things, and I'm standing off to the side, just kind of like, you know, experiencing. I mean, you know, just kind of viewing, watching, taking notes. And oh God, I don't know if I can say it, but the lady is like, huh?
The word?
Yeah.
You can say it. This is an education experience, and it's reality.
You can say, okay. Well, you know, she tells us, like, okay, what type of look we're going for. Now, mind you, the injector and this patient they know each other. They have been like injector and patient relationship for a while. So they've been seeing each other for a while. So I don't know what they talk about outside of the spa or behind closed doors, but all I know is that I was in there to witness it that day, and it was very uncomfortable. Her just pointing out her lips, and she's like, you know, I want my lips to have a little bit more volume, but I don't want lips. And I was taken aback. I was thrown off. I said, and you know, the injector was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, don't repeat that. Basically, like, don't say that again. I don't even know what that means. Like, whatever you're asking for, you're not going to get that. You are going to get it. I don't know. She's like, but I'm not sure like what that even means. And she's like, I just don't want them big. And to me, who is standing not only 2 feet away, is just kind of taken aback. And honestly, you always hear about situations where that happens to like Black women specifically. Not that particular situation, but you know, like just inappropriate racial comments or whatever. And you hear them say, oh, I said this, I said that. I couldn't say anything. I was just in shock, really, because it's almost like, wow, that's like one really ignorant and also very inappropriate, and it's hurtful. Because like, what I do? I'm in here just watching so I can help you all out. What did I do?
What I
like, it's like, oh, and I ended up just leaving the room. I didn't go back in there. And then the injector came out and was kind of telling the story and was like, gosh, like that's so ignorant, which it was extremely ignorant. And that was one of the most interesting stories, I guess I could say. But yeah, just there's a lot of ignorance that comes, and you know, some people are not educated and they just say whatever comes to mind. But that was one of the most inappropriate situations I've ever been in, and uncomfortable.
Was that the one you were going to share before I interjected, or was there another one?
Yeah, there was another one, but that one was the worst one. But I will share, there was another one, just basically a patient who didn't trust my judgment. Basically, she wanted a very simple look with neurotoxin, which is like Botox, Dysport, all that. And I was telling her, hey, for the particular look she was going through was her good bells, her 11s. And she's like, they're mean, they're angry. And she already has like a line in between her 11s. So it's mean. Like, she wasn't making a face at all. She had a static line right there. So I was like, okay, well, we're going to start off with just going ahead and do a minimum of 15 units in the area and we'll go from there. And I said the max I want to do in that area is 20, but because it was her first time, I didn't want to freeze her. I didn't want it to feel heavy or uncomfortable. So I said, let's just do 15. And she was like, but I want the line to go away. I said, well, that's a static line. So a static line is basically when you're not making a face and that line is still there because you've had so much movement and you constantly did it that line is there. I said, let's work on like freezing and paralyzing that movement so it won't get any worse. And then, over time, we can help it kind of fade away. Won't get rid of it, but hopefully it can fade it away. Long story short, she's like, okay, just grab someone else, grab another injector because I don't think you know what you're talking about.
Oh.
I said, no, I'm trying to explain to you, like I do. I said, we can do 20 if you're comfortable with that. But because you've never done injections before, I feel like 20 would be a very aggressive treatment and it'll feel heavy. And the main thing she was yelling, I don't want to be frozen and I don't want it to feel heavy. I said, so I'm not going to give you 20 units then. So let's go for 15. Well, then my other coworker, who's an injector, who is Hispanic, came in and talked to her. This was a Hispanic lady. And they're talking and, they start speaking Spanish. They're chatting to each other. Long story short, she ends up doing the 20 units. And the patient came back in 2 weeks and said that it was too heavy. She did not like the treatment and it wasn't a good treatment and she wanted a refund. So, yeah.
Let me ask, because now I'm in this industry, I'm going to share this with the audience as well. Was this Botox or just?
No, it was Botox. It was Botox.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. And so did you do just the middle or did you do like?
Yeah. So normally I do about 4 different injection points. So I have them make an angry face and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, just basically where that movement is pulling. Now, sometimes if it pulls like look at me getting out close. When it pulls like from out here, like kind of like me, I'll kind of slightly do about 2 to 3 units on the side out here. And I learned that from one of the past injectors I worked with. She was really good at letting me know and teach me that to go in as an angle to really target that area as well.
Okay. And I asked that for y'all that don't know, because those are both neurotoxins. Botox it doesn't have as much of the active ingredient in it as Dysport does. I believe Dysport has about 2 times as much, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like, that's a lot. You're doing Dysport and you're doing, well, I guess it'd be equal or not equal, but yeah. But yeah, no, that's a lot. That is a lot to put in just that area too. And I just had mine the other day, so I'm over here trying to make the face and I can't.
And it looked good. That's what when you did it, I was like, dang, girl, it looks good.
I got it. Okay, yeah, but just assuming that you're not competent and that you're not capable of providing competent treatment.
I've had that happen, and and even in terms of, I've had, oh gosh, there's a lot of stories that I'm not gonna lie, though, I'm happy that all the experience that do happen because I'm very confident in myself to know that like sometimes people are very ignorant. And then too, like I said, I just have enough confidence to let it roll off my back most of the times. I don't really ever let it get to me. The only one that ever got to me was that other story I just told. And I didn't really like let it show. I was just kind of like I said, taken aback and shocked that someone would say that in front of a Black person, but teach his own. There's times where I've been at the front desk and I am the injector and the person next to me is white or Hispanic and they're sitting there. They're the, the receptionist, they come in and they come up to me because, we're both sitting at the desk. So like having an appointment, I'm like, oh, absolutely. Like, let me go and get you checked in because I was front desk at one point. I know exactly how to check people in. So I don't discriminate when it comes to like doing certain jobs at the office. If you need me to check people in, I can. You need me to go inject, I can. Whatever you need me for, especially when I go home to work, I'll do it. And I remember checking her in and, we were just chatting, I'm making casual conversation like, oh, okay, so you're getting injections and I am her injector. I had my jacket on so you couldn't see that Simone Robertson, well, actually it says Simone Williams on there, injector under it. And I had my jacket on so you couldn't see it. And she's like, okay, like, what's my injector's name? I was like, oh, I'm Simone. It's going to be me. And she goes, wait, you're my injector? She's like, oh, I thought it would be her. And I'm like, no.
Why would you think that?
Off rip, why would you think that? I said, it would be me. And she goes, oh, so you're the one they were talking about on the phone that says they're a really good injector? I said, I guess that was me. Yes. I said, yes, it is. She's like, oh, okay, well, nice to meet you. I've had patients be rude to me in the waiting area and they don't even realize. And then I get up with their clipboard. I'm like, come on back. Let me go ahead and start injecting. And the whole energy of their demeanor changes instantly once that happens, instantly.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few things happen, quite a few, but yeah, people, when you're in that industry, you work with a privileged community, very privileged, and they think that and this, I don't want to be rude because I obviously want to stay in this industry, but you work with people that are entitled and very privileged, and you have to learn how to you just have to let it, just like I keep saying, roll it off, like let it roll off, because it doesn't mean anything. And yeah, I've had a lot of instances, a lot.
I can tell. I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course, so I do feel like sometimes we have to let it roll off because otherwise you get the stereotype, you're the angry black woman. Now I'm rude. I'm aggressive if I'm defending myself for the way that I'm
so rude to me in the back. She was so nasty and
so nasty and so rude. So rude. Like, okay. Uh, it's definitely a part of, trying to survive in an industry like this one. What would you like to see as far as the way Black women are treated as both providers and patients in the future in aesthetics? What would be an ideal world to you?
Just honestly, number one, be better marketing. Like, I mean, you need to market everybody. And I mean everybody. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, everyone, because people, I'm telling you, people don't know. That's why there's only one race that usually comes in, because they're the only people that are marketed. And two, I mean, it's kind of hard to say like what would I want in that, because the world is what the world is. So off rip, me and you, how we look, we're never going to be seen as someone that's fairer than us, that has blonde hair and blue eyes. We're never going to be looked at as them. We're not going to be seen as equal in any situation. Do I want more for that? Absolutely, especially in the aesthetic industry. But I mean, there's what I want more of is just marketing and more people that look like me and you to be working at places like that. Because when there's more of us there, there's more marketing of us there, and it makes other people feel comfortable to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go there just because this girl's Black, she looks like me, and she knows what she's possibly doing. And to come in and feel comfortable. I have a couple clients that are Black. There's only about like 4 or 5 of them that only come in and see me. When I come home from work, they text me, "Here, are you in?" One of my favorite, her name is, she comes, she gets master injections.
Can you say,
and huh?
You say her name?
Oh shit, I should have.
I'll edit that out. I was like, HIPAA?
No.
I'm gonna look about her name because that's funny. I'll figure out how to do that after this. But
like, definitely, you said, did you say her name? I said, did I?
That was funny. But yeah, so your friend texts you.
My friend, she comes, she comes in, she texts me, and she's great. But because of that, like, and here's the thing, all the injectors that I work with are amazing. Every injector I've ever worked with, amazing. They have their own style, whatever the case is, but because of how she looks and how I look and how they look, she doesn't feel comfortable going to anybody else except me. And that's okay, I feel like, when, patients do that, because I don't want to be, how am I trying to say this? Everyone feels comfortable who they feel comfortable going to, obviously, but I just feel like if there's more of us, there would be, it just make it seem like it's normal, because it seems abnormal when we work in industries like this. It seems abnormal, to be honest. That's what it gives.
And I think it also would provide more cultural competency, because like things like that comment that lady made, like if that had been a Black injector, like I have to work on this because I like speaking my mind. Because if somebody said that in front of me, I don't think I could hold my tongue, especially if I'm the one injecting. I'm like, you need to leave. Like, you're not welcome here because you made this person feel welcome, you made me feel unwelcome. But I feel like if there's more people that look like yourself, look like me, look like a Fitzpatrick 4, 5, 6, then there's more understanding. There's more like I had somebody come in and they were not a patient or a member yet. But she walked in, my face lit up. I said, hey, how are you? Like, we were like this. We sat and talked for like a good 20 minutes about all the different things she wants to do, blah, blah, blah. And just certain things where I could say, like, I know that's right. I'd be like, yes. Like, it's giving, I can just say like different things where it's like, I feel like I'm talking to one of my friends. I feel safe.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we even hit one of them. And I was like,
I think we even hit one of them.
I said, oh, this feels so good. It's like, when you said like when they walk in, it's immediately like, it's like welcome home.
Like, come sit next to me behind the desk actually right now, and like I'll do your paperwork for you, because that's what it feels like.
Literally. So I think just being able to have that and have just that cultural competence, like you don't have to, I don't have to explain, I don't have to change my voice when I talk to you. I don't have to be like, hi, like, yeah,
Yeah.
that I would see more of too. More comfort for Black women or Black people coming in. Um,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it is very disappointing a lot of times too. And then just in some situations too, and I've never really said this, but it is also embarrassing in
yeah,
terms of just like being a company that only has a total of 3 Black women, and we only got our third one like about 3 months ago. So it's embarrassing almost too. Um, Especially because I just feel like, I don't know, it just, I'm trying to also keep it appropriate.
yeah,
Um, I just feel like you just said, we just bring so much, like we bring a lot to the table. We can bring a lot to the table in terms of just, just a lot. We can bring a lot to the table. I want to say, I just don't want to be like, I don't want to come off as rude. I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just like very much pointing out the obvious. And sometimes companies not hiring Black people or whatever the case is, especially like aesthetic industry, like it just bothers me, because there's just so much in this industry specifically for us as well that can help. And it just sucks because when you don't have, when you don't market it towards everyone, people miss out on great products or things that can help, or cases like, and I hate, there's been situations at the spa too where, and I kind of shared the story with you earlier about how we had a patient come in that was with another doctor, and she was Black, gorgeous, beautiful lips. She just wanted more of an upper lip because she had the gorgeous bottom lip. She wanted more of an upper lip. Same thing for me, like just add some to my top lip. And the injector, the injector repeatedly told her, like, you don't need it. Like, your lips are already full. They're already gorgeous. You don't need injections. And at the time, I was only front desk that particular time, so I wasn't able to help her. And I felt bad. And I was like, you can come back another day. But she wasn't from San Antonio. She was from somewhere else, but she heard things about this particular spa, so she wanted to come to us. So I told her, hey, go to our other spa we have across town. They'll do your injections for you over there. She left a great review, even though she didn't have the best experience. And it wasn't that the doctor was rude. The doctor wasn't rude to her at all. She just told, like, you don't need this. Like, your lips are gorgeous. They're already full. And she was like, I know they're full. Like, my bottom one's full. I just want more on the top. And just like that type of situation could turn someone away, especially a Black woman could turn them away and be like, like, I don't think I want to get that, because obviously it's not for me. It's for women that don't have lips, or who it's only for this demographic of women that they deserve filler and that they don't,
yeah. I do.
So yeah, there's been a lot of different instances where just like, it's just so far gone. It's like, but then it's like, you don't want to be that person, like, give up on that either. Like, I want to pull more people into this industry, especially people that look like me. So.
Yes, shout out to you, because y'all don't know this, but Simone is the reason I have the job that I have now. She
I just thought she was perfect for it, y'all. Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, we went to brunch, she talked and talked. And I'm like, bro, like, you'd be great in this industry. Like, you really would. Yes. And I just knew, like, I was like, like, give my girl something, please. Yeah.
Shout out to that. I want to do the same thing. I want to see more people that look like me. I say it all the time, and I've made a very, very, like, just very straightforward effort to tell everybody I work with. I'm like, I'm rooting for everybody Black. Like, I want to see Black women, Black men, Black everybody walk in the door. I want to see treatments that they can get. I won't say names of what treatments, but there are some treatments that are not the safest for Black folks and require yeah, I'm not gonna say it, but I'm big on, when I see the treatments that we can get, I'm like, oh yeah, like, I would go with this one. And I say that to everybody because it's important. It's 2024. There's no reason there should be treatments that are maybe not unsafe, but questionable as far as safety goes. It just doesn't compute in my mind. So I want to see.
And to piggyback off that too, like, that is true, because there's been situations that I've heard of or have actually like seen with my own eyes where there is not, certain services that are safe for our skin type, but because someone that doesn't look like me works there and wants to make that sale, we'll still proceed to do that on them. And we actually had a patient that went through that. There was a particular service she was not supposed to get done. And this person wanted to sell, made great money from the sale, but ended up burning the patient. And that patient was coming to us, like, I mean, 2, 3 years afterwards,
Wow.
making sure that we had to do another treatment to get rid of the burn mark that was caused on her body because of a treatment that she was not supposed to get done, but was told that, oh, this treatment's perfect for you. It's perfect for your skin, when it was not.
I think we need to have a second conversation because we are getting close to time. And I'm saying that because I'm realizing we could really get into it when we talk about two things in particular: professionalism and also safety of services when
Yeah.
it comes to Black folks. Yeah. We might have to do a part two if you're
I'm like,
down.
oh, part two, baby, because we can get into that because there are so many situations where I'm like, that's not a good treatment for them. Like, we'll just sell it. No,
No,
why? I'm not even doing it. Why am I going to sell it to her? Absolutely not. So,
it's giving
yeah,
no this. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a part two because we could really yeah,
dive into that.
really. So well, it's about that time. This has been wonderful. I'm so happy that you joined me today for this episode of Hues and Blues. This is technically episode number one, um,
Hey,
the pilot season. So I can say season one, when we come back and I'm no longer doing this just under the capacity of a school assignment, we can get into it as much as we want. So I just want to say thank you so much, Simone, for joining me today. I
no,
appreciate
thank you for having me, girl. This was fun.
it. It was a key because listen. All right, y'all. Signing off until next time. I appreciate y'all listening. Y'all take care.